Alright guys, welcome to Trust Food Works. This is Cooking Under the Radar. If you don't know me, I'm Chef Raedar, and we're gonna get into some kitchen essentials today. You know, the nitty-gritty basics, everything that you will need in order to cook a basic dish. Nothing too fancy, nothing too over the top. But yeah, I've got some tools with me. I'm gonna show you what I got, what I use, what I prefer. And yeah, it's some of what I prefer is a little different than what you may hear from other chefs, but it all comes to personal preference. And if you're not comfortable while you're cooking, then you shouldn't be cooking. So first step, make sure you're comfortable. Make sure the tools you have you're comfortable, because half of these are very sharp. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so the first and most important tool I would say in any kitchen is probably one that is overlooked and often mistreated, and that is the chef knife. So this is what you will most likely know and recognize the most. This one is a nice 12-inch long chef knife, and we got, I believe now it's a 6-inch. I think it started off as an 8, but traditional style. They're great, nice and sharp, great to have in the kit. However, not my preference. My go-to tools, I have this Global. It is known as just a vegetable knife. It's very similar to what you may hear as a santoku, which is a Japanese style, rounded off at the end, very flat on the end, or on the face, and it is great for chopping, because yeah, you don't have that roundness that you want to rock. As well, I have, it is a Japanese kiritsuke. This is made by Dalstrong. Actually, you can get these right on Amazon, and that's where I got this. One of my cheaper knives, but slowly becoming my absolute favorite. I use it every day. It's great because unlike the Global, doesn't really have much of a point. So like I said, it's great for chopping. This guy is great for all around, because it's got that flat face, so I can get that chopping. As well, the tip is a little rounded, so I can get a nice sliding motion going, and then it's got the point, so if I ever need that really sharp point, it's got that as well. However, these two, they will get the most of the jobs done. I won't get into all my knives, but just a couple other ones I've got. Whenever I'm trimming all my meat and really working with whole pieces of meat, I need something that's a bit more flexible than this. It's got a bit of flex, but this guy here, that's got a little bit more room to work with, and just more things I'm able to do with it. So this is another Global. You'll kind of notice I'm a little prone to using two specific brands. It took me a while to get me off Global, but yeah, this Dalstrong, like I said, it's really slowly becoming my favorite knife. Lastly, in order to take care of them, this is an essential thing that you're gonna have to learn to use, because you want to keep your knives sharp. Sharp knives are better knives, and they are safer knives. But this is what's known as a steel. It is part of the sharpening process, but is not the full sharpening process. So this, every time you cut, you're gonna bend that edge. You're gonna make it all wavy, all curvy, like your best, the girl next door you're interested in. But yeah, you don't want that in knives. So this is basically to just straighten that blade out, get it straight again, so you can go back to the chopping that you need to get done. All right, the next things you guys are gonna need, oftentimes bring a lot of clutter into the kitchen because there's a lot of unnecessary items in the drawers where these are kept. I'm gonna give you the basics. Wooden spoon or bamboo. I use wooden over plastic because I would much rather charred wood in my food than melted plastic. Think about it that way. A whisk. You want your eggs nice and frothy, nice and whippy. Nice slotted spoon. Spatula, a rubber spatula, some tongs. Now, these ones, not necessarily necessary. Say that 10 times fast. But not necessarily necessary, but I prefer these when I'm handling a lot of delicate meats. So I just thought I'd throw them in there for the heck of it. But yes, go back to the wooden spoons. A lot of people will say that they don't like the wooden spoons because they'll burn. I agree that I don't like spoons that will burn. That's why I use wooden ones, because I don't want burnt plastic in my food, like I said. I do a lot of smoked meats. I use wood, and I use it to cook the food. So why not use it to cook the food? Slide a spoon or whisk, like I said. Any whisk will do. I prefer a smaller one. Gives me a bit more wrist action there. Yeah, the rubber spatula, I always prefer a little bit bigger, because I don't know, really don't know. I just prefer bigger. That's just me. That's what I'm here for, giving you my preferences. And tongs, yeah, when it comes to the tongs, I want the ones that have the spring in there. Gives you a bit more grip. The other ones, they end up flimsy after about 2 weeks of use. And don't cheap out, don't go to the dollar store. Get a proper pair of tongs, they're like 20 bucks. You can get them on Amazon for probably cheaper. You don't need all the other stupid stuff. All right? That's that. So you've got all the things to stir the food, to cut the food. Now you really just need something to actually cook the food in. And I've got these bowls, because if you're not actually cooking, you just need something to mix it in. So you're not heating. I have probably 60 to 70 of these bowls in my kitchen at any given time. They're great for everything, great for prep. You can cut up peppers, cut up onions, put them in there, mix things, whatever. They're bowls. How much more can I say about them? These ones, yeah, go to the dollar store for it. Set those aside. Now you're actually cooking. Every chef's best friend, the frying pan and the saucepan. I know people normally call these a pot, so we're probably going to reference it as a pot, but if we want to get technical, this is a saucepan. It's what you make sauce in. Basic. Can't really tell you much more. This one's aluminum, very cheap. A lot of chefs will use them just because they are cheaper to replace. Ideally, I like copper. Copper, very even, or a nice steel with a nice thick bottom. That a stainless steel with a thick bottom that a lot more even heat. But that is the cooking items that you can cook things in. That's the technical term, look it up. I'm the chef, trust me. All right, my last kind of section of essentials that will get you started in the kitchen, the electronics, the nice tech side, as techy as kitchens can be. So, this one, it's kind of, if you're into the smoked meat side of things, don't necessarily need it unless you're wanting to weigh up all your meat afterwards. But if you're into baking and you know you like making bread, you're making desserts, cookies, you're gonna want to scale. The most accurate way to bake is with weight. You could take a cup of flour, I could take a cup of flour, and they're both different volumes. There's a lot of air that gets mixed in there. It's just so different, so many different variables. So with the weight, you're actually getting the proper amount. So if you're doing baking, you're gonna wanna pick one of these up and have one of those in your kitchen. I prefer to have one of these guys instead of what we know as a food processor or a blender. I have all of them now, I use them all. But when I was starting collecting my different kitchen utensils, I went for this. A lot more you can do because it's handheld. You don't need to put whatever you're working on into another container. So especially for different sauces, gravies, soups, you're making pureed soups. One of these are great. You plug it in, stick the blade in, and just let it, you know. So anyway, yes, immersion blender, good thing to have. Go get it. Other than that, this big boy. Again, this one, if you're doing a lot of meats, don't necessarily need to have this. You can do a lot of the mixing that you need to do by hand. But for baked goods and doing a lot of baking breads, doughs, making pizza dough, all that fun stuff, this is one of the things you're gonna wanna get. This is a KitchenAid stand mixer. It comes with a bunch of different attachments. Whisk, paddle, you name it, you can get an attachment for it. This one, when my parents actually got it for me for a grad present. I think when they picked it up, it was around $1,000, this one, but you can find these on Facebook Marketplace for like 150 bucks right now. They're pretty standard, pretty easy to get. But yeah, KitchenAid stand mixer. Pick one up on Facebook Marketplace. Add it to the collection in the kitchen. You will not be disappointed. All that being said, this is just my opinion on what I think you should have in the kitchen when you're just starting out. Things that I wish I kind of had, things that I realized I didn't need. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe. Join me on this journey of developing this funness on YouTube, and just have fun with it. Also, throw in the comments if you have a question, if you have something you want to see in one of my videos, an experiment, a crazy idea. Let me know and we'll make it happen. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.